Hi, Lisa. Welcome to this fourth conversation about mental fitness, where we're going to finish laying the foundation by talking about the SAGE. First, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Wendy McManus. I'm a leadership coach with Connect to Potential. I draw out the true genius in my clients so they become more confident, capable leaders who create stellar results.
And I'm Lisa Brewer, a leadership coach with Lisa Brewer Coaching. I help my clients to clarify their goals and then develop and implement plans which advance their career and really grow their confidence, their courage, and their joy. Wendy, I am so excited to dive into the SAGE with you. As we've discussed before, mental fitness is dependent upon three core muscles. We talked about the self-command muscle and the saboteur-interceptor muscle in prior conversations. I think it's really important to know that the stronger these muscles are, the easier it is to get into the SAGE and use the SAGE muscle. When we're hijacked by the saboteur, it really takes strength to move into the SAGE mindset.
Exactly. And that's why we call this work mental fitness. It requires strength to respond to life's challenges with a positive mindset instead of a negative mindset. The insights that we're learning are helpful, but it's that muscle building that helps you increase your mental fitness.
That is so true. I think it's also important that we mention that the SAGE muscle is a really big topic.
So true. Huge topic. The SAGE does so much. The SAGE helps us move into the SAGE perspective, which we're going to talk about today. The SAGE also gives us access to deep empathy for ourselves and others. It encourages curiosity and innovation. It helps us find meaning. And it's the key to getting into laser-focused, inspired action.
Yes, and we could devote a whole episode to any one of those. So as you mentioned, today our focus is really going to be on the SAGE perspective. And the SAGE perspective is that every circumstance or outcome can be converted into a gift or opportunity. We've said it before, and we'll say it again. This is not about sugarcoating bad situations. Also, we're not suggesting that everything happens for a reason. You may or may not believe that, but it really doesn't matter in this context. The SAGE perspective says that the circumstances already happened. So now, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly. The saboteurs work so hard to keep us in negative emotions, especially in tough circumstances. Now, the problem with that is that it starts to narrow our focus. So we can't see the big picture. It also makes it harder to access our creativity and our intuition. The SAGE perspective, on the other hand, helps us to expand our options. We see more possibilities, and that makes it easier to find a productive path forward.
And I have a really good example of this. Since our move about a month and a half ago, we have had problems with our internet, our washing machine, our vacuum cleaner, our sprinkler system, our boiler, mice, and today our radiant heat system. As a result of all of this, I have had to work late and also work on weekends to make up for all the time that I've been spending fixing these problems. It would be so easy for me to fall into a victim mindset. And, to be honest, that has happened at times. But while the venting feels satisfying in the moment, it's not productive. So when I felt overwhelmed, I did self-command exercises and actively engaged the self-perspective. And from there, I found two gifts. First, because many of my clients are extremely busy and ambitious themselves, it will be easier for me to relate to them. And second, it gave me a chance to practice self-empathy and self-compassion, which helped me to expand my empathy for my husband, who is also going through these things. And so as a result, we've been able to really pull together instead of fighting, even with all this increased stress.
Yeah, Lisa, as I've talked with you through the course of this move, it's become so obvious. This move has been your playground. It's almost been like your gym for building your mental fitness.
Yes, so true. And now that I reflect on it, In the past, I would have been so wrung out by all these obstacles. And while I still may have been productive, because that's just who I am, I wouldn't be much fun to be around. And so, this is one of the impacts of building mental fitness. People actually want to be around me still.
I want to be around you. But let's get into the how of the SAGE perspective. Like, what are the actual steps that people can take? To activate the SAGE perspective, it's helpful to explore three types of gifts. So consider the gift of knowledge, the gift of strength, and the gift of inspiration. In your story, Lisa, I heard the gift of strength as you build your empathy for your clients, yourself, and your husband, which allowed you to grow closer with him and to have fewer fights. I personally have a really good example of the gift of knowledge that I've experienced. As you know, I'm the co-founder of a nonprofit organization for artists. We run this organization almost entirely with volunteers. And there have been so many technology challenges that we had to figure out. I found myself in the role of finding and coordinating a bunch of different tech solutions. And Lisa, you know, this is not my area of expertise. So it's been really challenging. But because I had to just get in there and figure it out, I've gained knowledge that has been so helpful in other areas of my life. I never would have learned this stuff if I didn't have to step up and meet those challenges. It truly has been a gift.
And that is such a great example because I think so many of us have experienced this throwing ourselves into something new, running into the unexpected, and then finding all of these gifts later on from it. So we've talked about the gift of strength and we've talked about the gift of knowledge. There are also so many examples, big and small, of the gift of inspiration. I remember after Hurricane Katrina, families from around the country donated funds and opened up their homes to help those families that were displaced. Also, I've encountered many people that after a life-threatening illness, they are so inspired to make changes to align their actions to the values that they have.
Yeah, we've
These
all
big
heard those
challenges in
stories.
life really can inspire people to step up and do something very differently.
Yeah. It reminds me of that timeless saying, necessity is the mother of invention. These are all great examples of the SAGE perspective. And I think we should be specific about how to actually make this shift. So there are steps that you can follow to help you get into the SAGE perspective. And the first is noticing when you're in a negative state of mind. Use that saboteur interceptor muscle to name it and distance yourself. You might say, oh, there goes my saboteur again. Thanks very much. I don't need you right now. You can show yourself to the door. Then focus your mind by doing some self-command exercises to fire up your sage brain and actively start switching yourself out of that saboteur perspective. Then, in that moment of calm, ask yourself, what gift or opportunity can I create out of this difficult situation? What might be the gift of knowledge, strength, or inspiration?
And when asking yourself these questions, allow time for the answers to just percolate up. For me, it helps to remember that the path of the sage is the path of ease and flow. This is about generating possibilities, not about coming up with the perfect answer. It may also help to expand your time horizon. In other words, the gift may not manifest until farther out into the future, but you may be able to recognize what's possible from where you are today.
Exactly. That's a good tip. And, you know, it's like planting a seed. You might not have the answer right away, but by asking the question, you seed your mind, and the answer might come when you least expect it. I mean, that's how intuition works. I find that many of my best ideas come to me when I'm in the shower, when I'm not actively thinking about the problem.
That is also so true. And the more that you engage in this process, the more you actively try to think of different gifts, opportunities, and inspirations, the easier it becomes to find them. This is work that we do with our one-on-one coaching clients and also in our 6-week mental fitness programs. While my program is called Positive Intelligence, I love the name of your program, Wendy, the Mental Fitness Boot Camp. It reflects the initial dedication that it really takes to build these three core muscles.
Exactly. And with that, Lisa, I think we should wrap it up. Next time, let's start talking about how to apply the concepts of mental fitness to actually achieve our goals.
Love it. We'd also love to get into conversation with you about this. You can contact Wendy through connecttopotential.com.
And you can reach Lisa at lisabrewercoaching.com.